Operation Domination is underway. The ultimate game plan to dominate your NFL experience. With your hosts, Dan Maven.
But what's more impressive to me about the
Chase Thornton.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be.
Chris Dowhouse.
Get him, Chase.
And Adam.
No,
LaRue.
not necessarily, but it's again the same as...
Don't hope to win. Be great and dominate.
Let's get into the tight ends, guys, and wrap up the show. So we got Evan Ingram here. We all have him as a tight end 1, right? I mean, Adam's got him at 12. We all kind of have him at 7, 8, 9 territory. Chase, you got him at 9. It's kind of an interesting situation because the volume's been there the last 2 years for Evan Ingram, but it's kind of, I mean, he's like the Michael Pittman, actually, of tight ends now that I think about it. He just doesn't
Very
score
much
touchdowns.
so.
So,
No,
Chase,
very
you got
much
him at
so.
9. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, you hit it right on the head. We talked about earlier with Pittman how he doesn't have a very deep average depth of target. It's the same thing with Evan Ingram there. Listen, he was tight end 2 overall points scored. He had the second most receptions for a tight end in history. Okay, so we know that his volume is going to be there, but with now a fully healthy, we hope and assume a fully healthy wide receiver core with Kirk there, with Thomas there, with Gabe Davis there. Does he see 143 targets again? I think, and I've made this point last week too. I think about him. You can see some regression. I can see regression in terms of his volume. Okay. Then on top of that, you look at the fact that he was only tight end 6 in terms of half PPR points per game. He wasn't tight end 2 over. People are going to look at that tight end 2 overall finish and the volume, and they're going to think, great. But there are some mitigating factors there. I think he's definitely a top 10, which is why I have him at 9 there, but he doesn't score touchdowns. He doesn't catch the ball downfield. He's very much an underneath threat for this offense. And so, go ahead, draft him as a tight end 1. But draft him as one of the later tight end 1s. Don't be looking at that tight end 2 overall finish from last season and thinking that you're going to get Travis Kelce type numbers, Sam Laporta type numbers, because it's not necessarily in the cards for him this year.
Yeah, I mean, his targets ballooned when Christian Kirk went down. He had a 24% target share that led the team, actually. But his first year on the team, 2022, it was 18%, more along the lines of a top 12 tight end, but not in that elite tier as far as volume is concerned. And with the weapons here now, even if Kirk were to go down, I tend to agree. I don't think he would see that 24% target share, but still a tight end 1 nonetheless. I'm just going to skip ahead to Dalton Schultz. Anthony, when you look at Schultz, this is somebody, he got his contract extension. He's been very, very solid no matter what the situation's been around him, no matter what other targets have been around him. But, we still have him as a mid-level tight end too. Do you see any other ceiling besides that or no?
No, and we talked about this Texans wide receiver room and Joe Mixon and this offense. Somebody's going to take a hit in targets if everybody's healthy. I think that's Dalton Schultz. And when we go back and look at Schultz, who's been a pretty good, reliable fantasy tight end, he's a volume guy. So unless Dalton Schultz gets his normal volume, and if we go back to 2020, he's had at least 88 targets in every season. If those targets are not there, I don't think we see the same guy in fantasy, which is why I still think he's going to be okay, but I don't have him as a tight end 1. I have him closer to that tight end 15, 16 range.
And that's about the ADP of where he's been going to. Okay, it is time for your Underdog Specials. Remember, if you have not played Underdog, you have not signed up, do so. Use the promo code FFADVICE. You get up to $250 in a cash bonus and 1 free pick'em pick, which is what we're about to break down for you guys right here. There's some future pick'ems dealing with this division. So what do I got at the top? CJ Stroud. I got him higher than 4150 on yards here, people. I love it. He was 4108 last year, and now he gets digs on top of it. He only played 15 games last season, so now you get the extra weapon, and if he just plays 2 more extra games, he's definitely going to hit that. So I love CJ Stroud right now, higher than 4,150 yards. Anthony Richardson, I got him higher than 7.5 rushing touchdowns. I don't think this should be too much of a stretch. Again, pretty much just betting on him playing I don't know, maybe at least 6-7 games, because might be all it takes for him to get to 7.5 rushing touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns in 3.5 games played last year and will always be a threat inside the red zone. Brian Thomas, I got him higher than 800 yards. That's it, 800 yards on Underdog. All he has to do is get 10 yards per target as potentially the second wide receiver in the pecking order. So if he has 80 targets, which should be easy to do for, put it out there. Jackson Smith-Njigba had 93 as the third receiver on his team. Quentin Johnson, as awful as he was, had 67. So he needs 13 more targets than Quentin Johnson last season to get to 80 with a 10 yards per target. With his capability, he should get over that 800 yards pretty easily. Tony Pollard, this is juiced, by the way, times 1.05 your money on Underdog if he just gets over 800 rushing yards. Even if I give Pollard a baseline of a 55% of the team carries, with Spears getting 45, more than generous as the baseline, and he gets back to 4.5 yards per carry. Again, average for a running back starter in today's league. Pollard should be able to do that. He will get over the mark, no problem. Tony Pollard over 800 rushing yards this season, and that is your Underdog Specials for this show. Anthony, I want to thank you so much for making the time to come on here this Saturday and talk about the AFC South. What's something you got going on, and where should people be checking you out?
You can always follow me at The Real NFL Guru. I do all of my, my shows and video work at fffaceoff.com, and I am also part of the RotoWire NFL team. So go check me out on the RotoWire YouTube podcast, and hopefully some Sirius XM spots this year.
Awesome. Can't wait. Check out Anthony everywhere you go. He's one of the best in the business. We will be back next week with the NFC South. Follow us on social media at OP Domination FF. We will announce who the guest will be and exactly what time we're going to be live. We're still getting those logistics worked out, but it will be the NFC South that we get to talk about next. Make sure you download Operation Domination on your favorite podcast app and follow us on YouTube at FF Advice Network. You guys have a rest of your good weekend. We'll see you soon. Hey there, I'm proud to say that Underdog Fantasy is the newest sponsor of our show, and it's my favorite place to play fantasy games. No waivers, no trades, no lineup settings, just best ball for season-long drafters all year long. And you gotta check out Pick'em. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players. You can choose whether they go higher or lower on those stats, and if you can pick 5 in a row, you can win 20 times your money. Sound like fun? Well, guess what? You can sign up with promo code FFAdvice today to claim your special pick, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. I cannot wait to see your entries.